Hello and welcome to another segment of Western Wisconsin Journal. My name is Mary Claire Potter and it is my pleasure to be here today to interview one of the candidates for District 2 for the City of Hudson. And we have incumbent Mary Yakub with us today. Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
The other candidate, Joe Allen, unfortunately had something come up and is unable to participate in today's interview, but we are pleased to have Mary here and appreciate your willingness to talk to us about why, again, you'd like to continue serving on City Council. So welcome, Mary.
Thank you.
Thank you. So first, I'm just going to ask you to talk a little bit about yourself, your qualifications, and a little bit about your background.
Well, I think my first and foremost qualification is I have been on since 2010. As far as my background, it's pretty versatile. I graduated from the University of Wisconsin Whitewater in social work and criminal justice. I worked in Milwaukee for a while, and then I went into the Peace Corps in Kingston, Jamaica. I worked with youth at risk in the Peace Corps, and then came home and worked in Child Protective Services until I was married. Before I had children up here, I worked in Dakota County for wraparound, so it was really more of a social work background for me, but it was based upon volunteerism. I mean, you don't go into social work to make, a lot of money. So there's a lot of public service there just within itself. I volunteered for a lot of different, variety of different things, coaching my kids' soccer teams and just a variety of fundraising events. When I had my first child 10 years ago, I stayed home for 10 years, and I got more actively involved in the city when former Mayor Dean Knutson asked me to serve on the Police and Fire Commission and on the zoning board. So I did that, and which piqued my interest. I didn't really have an interest in anything. To sit here for an interview is definitely, I would say, 5 years ago was totally outside my box. So so that is how I came about coming on the city council, just by my interest that was piqued through the different committees I was on. And I've been doing that for the last 4 years and now I'm doing that plus work. Started my own business and working, city council, and my kids. So,
that's fabulous.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. So, as you said, you are currently on the city council and it takes a lot of time and energy and work to do that. So why do you want to continue to serve and represent District 2?
I love it. I love helping the people. I love being there for the people. I love serving them. I think I have a very good record of responding to emails at a timely, fashion. I get my phone calls. I make it a number one priority outside of my family first, and then council comes next for me. And I think it's just right now to continue serving. I think there's so much that's happened in the last 2 years, which was probably unexpected in some ways because the first term was a little quiet, and I don't think we've had this much,
It's busy.
activity, I should say, since the last, in probably 10 years,
Right.
Maybe even longer. So yeah, it's been a busy 2 years, and I feel there's still some things I want to see through.
Okay, excellent. So just a couple questions. What do you think is the most important issue that Hudson will face in the next 12 months?
I think there's been an issue Hudson's been facing since I can remember, and I think it's becoming more important because of the growth of Hudson, and that's our parking issue downtown. I think there's a lot of different issues that someone could put to the forefront, but parking is, to me, a big one because if we don't have places for people to park, then people will leave. They'll go somewhere else. And our downtown district is hopping and happening nightly. It feels like now we've already done some things to improve it. We've changed the parking signs, to make them more visible, which I think is working. The City Hall lot is filled almost every night now, which is great. We've adjusted made some more parking spaces available at 8-hour spaces and 6-hour spaces, but we are short about 300 spots. So, we started what's it called? I'm blanking. We had a parking study done.
Yes.
And looking into a parking ramp and what it would cost the city, and this is going to be something we would, if we need to tackle, will be a large thing to tackle. It's not going to be an inexpensive project, and the location. So I think definitely parking is going to come up in the next 12 months, and it's going to be bigger than people expect. So.
Well, the growth in having downtown busy is fabulous. So
Yes.
we have a lot of
That's
great
a good
options.
problem
That's
to
a
have.
very good option. Mary, any areas where you think the city could possibly reduce spending without impacting services to the residents?
No.
All right.
I think we've reduced it as much as we can. I think we need to,
Okay.
you know, we need to do some things.
All
and
right.
Get it moving.
Okay, so in light of that, as you think about the infrastructure that the city has, you know, is the city's plan for maintaining or improving that infrastructure, is it sufficient?
I think it is now. I
Okay.
think we've been lacking in the last few years. I think it was hard to get funding. We get very little funding for state. We get very little state aid. I think about $168,000, where River Falls, Menominee, Eau Claire, Chippewa Falls, they get $2 million plus. So we're working with very little, and we can only tax so much through the new legislation that's come out from the state. And we don't want to overtax. We want to make sure that we have services that are good for everyone. And for the first time that I know of, we've created a 5-year plan for the city in all of our departments: public safety, public works. We've set out what we'd like to see spending in the next 5 years. I think that's huge, and that includes streets. And this next budget year, which we approved, we put $1.1 million for streets, which is large, very large. So, and you will be surprised how little that probably actually does. We have a grant that got approved at 80% for Wisconsin Street, but because it's a state grant, that's not going to be till 2015. And we're going after a grant possibly for Vine Street. It's going to cost about $5 million to take care of Vine Street. So, you know, we got to come up with the funds, and that takes time.
It does take time. It does take time. The next 3 questions focus on some issues that have been pretty hot in Hudson the past couple of years. The first question is, do you think the City Council should revisit rezoning the dog track property?
It's a good question. And my answer is possibly 2 parts. If it comes back to us the way it did the first time, my answer is no. We need the commercial capacity. Commercial helps bring property taxes down. It's the major factor that helps our residential taxes stay low. And people already think they're too high.
Right.
So for me to say stay low maybe sounds a little crazy to some, but it's the fact that we have, and that's 1/3 of our commercial district left. If it were to be a mixed use, you know, that's something that I would definitely be open to looking at. I think that was something we would hope would have happened in the last rezoning request, but it would definitely have to be looked at if they came back with a different type of request. I never close my mind to an issue unless it's the exact same one that came before me before, you know.
Okay,
So.
very good. Another topic that's been, you know, talked about quite a bit in the community is the library. So what are your ideas to financially stabilize and sustain the library?
I think we're working at it. We've increased, in the last budget, we increased library funding by 5%. We have just recently spent $300,000 on a new roof for the library. We could have taken the less expensive route and made it a temporary, you know, couple years,
Right.
maybe a few year fix. We made, this roof is, I don't think you can walk on and play. You can play tennis on this roof. You know,
Right.
it's ready to go. So I think we are working at it to the best of our ability at this time. I mean, without cutting services and cutting other areas. It's a balancing act. We can't put it all in one place because then we're going to lose out somewhere else. You know, no one expected a winter like this. We're short on salt, and
Right.
you know, you got to seek it somewhere else. So there's always unexpected things that are going to happen. So we want to make sure we have the funding to take care of the unexpected. But I think a 5% increase in the last year is definitely a positive thing for the library and to keep it going.
Excellent, excellent. Okay. And final question, do you think the city of Hudson should annex more land? I mean, how big should Hudson be, in your opinion?
I think it should be as, you know, that's a complicated question too, but I mean, I have an answer that it should be as big as Hudson is growing. So the south end of Hudson, which I represent, it's a growing south end. We have the business park there. We have homes ready to go, already built homes, never lived in. We have land that's going up. We have a whole commercial area back by Highway 35 that eventually is going to get built. The comprehensive plan that we have that actually goes to the state, that stays on record for 10 years, it has areas of town and surrounding areas that potentially could be annexed in. I think that when you look at an annexation, well, first, we don't determine that.
Right.
The person whoever the landowner is comes to us requesting annexation. So again, that's determined, that growth is also determined by who wants to be annexed in. And I think we always take a careful look at the reason for annexation. And if it's a good, positive thing for Hudson, then yes, I don't have a problem annexing it in. But we definitely always have to look at each individual request.
As it comes. Great. So any closing thoughts about why you'd like it to continue to serve and represent District 2 here in the city of Hudson?
Yeah. Well, I think, like I said before, there's a lot of unfinished business. And I think every alderperson or mayor debates it towards the last 6 months. Am I going to run again? Am I not? I think that's natural. I think any elected official probably does that. Because we put ourselves in a position where in the public where, we can be praised, we can be attacked, I have my children to think about, but I think what this current council is doing and what the past councils have started doing is a good thing for Hudson, and I want to see good things continue. This is a place where I want families to work, live, and play, and grow. I want my family to, grow here and love Hudson the way so many residents have loved Hudson. And it's a beautiful place to live. And I want to continue that.
It is. It's a beautiful place to live, work, do business,
Yes.
visit, all of those
Yes.
things. Well, thank you, Mary, so much for your time, for coming in today and talking with me, and appreciate your time and your willingness to run, because it takes a lot of time and energy to do that. And I want to wish both you and Joe well in the April election.
Thank you.
And good luck with that to both of you. So again, thank you both for your willingness to serve in this position. So
Thank you. I appreciate the
right.
time.
I want to once again thank Mary Yacoub for being here today. Both Mary Yacoub, the current incumbent, and Joe Allen are running for this position in District 2. And unfortunately, at the very last moment, Joe was unable to attend the interview today, but I certainly want to wish them both well in the election. A reminder to get out and vote on April 1st. And just a note that the District 2 polling location has been changed for the first time at this election on April 1st. District 2 polling location is at Faith Community Church. So thank you again, and get out and vote on April 1st.